Today we'll be looking at something that's called familiar formulas, and that's something that we are familiar with because we're going to look at how to find the perimeter and the area of a rectangle and how to write that out as an equation or an expression. So if I want to find the perimeter first, I have to write down the rules of finding a perimeter. And I know that's P standing for perimeter, is going to be equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, because it's basically the same as adding all the sides together. But you can see in this rectangle, we only have the value of 2 sides, which is why I have to multiply them by 2. So I'm going to write down that rule first. And it was 2 times the length, the L's for length, and I want to add that to 2 times W for width. Now this will be my length and this will be my width, so I'm going to write an expression now. 2 times 1.6n, and I want to add that to 2 times the width, which is just represented by n, and now I can solve this. 2 times 1.6n, I'm going to come up with an answer of 3.2n, and I want to add that to 2 times n, it becomes 2n. And now I have like terms because they both have an n, so it's going to be 3.2 plus 2. I know that's going to be 5.2. Keep the variable n. So the perimeter is equal to 5.2 n. And we're going to keep that rule up there, and we're going to move on to finding the area. Now the area is actually a little bit easier to do, because to find the area, all we have to do is multiply length times width. And it looks like this. Length times the width. So now I'm going to go in and replace these variables with the numbers that we have. So I end up with 1.6n, and I want to multiply it by n. Well, I have the same variable here, n and n, but no numbers to put together. So it's basically the same as saying 1 times 1.6n, which will give me 1.6n. But since it's the area, we always have to square our answer. So the area for this rectangle then would be 1.6n squared. The next thing we want to look at is how to find or calculate the distance traveled. So if you think about taking a trip in the car and you want to know either how far you've gone or how long it's going to take you to get somewhere, we can use this formula to figure that out. So I'm going to write down D, and that's going to represent distance traveled. And we can find the distance that we traveled by doing this. Taking the rate, R stands for rate, usually means how fast you're going, and we multiply it by T for time. How long you've been driving or how long you've been traveling. So let's take an example, and let's say that you are going 45 miles per hour in a car. And you want to multiply that by how long you've been driving, and let's say that you've been driving for 3 hours. That's going to give me the distance. All I have to do is multiply 45 times 3, and I come up with the answer of 135 miles. So once again, if you're driving 45 miles an hour and you've been driving for 3 hours, that means you've been going the distance of 135 miles total.